Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is the Unstoppable podcast show, and I am Jennifer Hardy. And today I am joined by Yasmina Hedhli. How are you doing, Yasmina?
I'm really well. Thank you for having me today.
You are so welcome. I'm looking forward to chatting. I don't know a lot about you at all, so this is going to be really awesome for me to learn about you and what you're up to and what your kind of goals are as well. So I think let's just kick off and start from the very beginning. Let us understand a little bit about your journey up to this point.
Okay, so I started off my career many years ago, and at the very start I encountered coaching and I absolutely fell in love with it, but I didn't pursue it as a career or as a business at that point. So I've spent years kind of building up my career in the charity and education sectors, and coaching's always been there in the background. But earlier this year, I thought, no, I want to make this leap. I'm going to kind of follow my dreams and make it happen. So I started my business a few months ago now, and it's been brilliant. And what I'm focusing on is helping women go from being invisible to becoming invincible. And that really kind of captures some of my journey. And going way back to my childhood, I experienced being invisible at quite a young age. Yeah. When I was 12, I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, and it left me housebound. I was really poorly for a long time. Lots of the time I couldn't even get out of bed. I had absolutely no energy. And so I was literally invisible. And when I was well enough to leave home, it was so overwhelming. The sun was too bright, the voices were too loud, the cars were too close. And I started to have panic attacks. And so I just wanted to retreat back inside and not really go outside or be seen or anything like that. So having that experience has really made me want to help others with that. And lots of us fear being seen, whether it's literally, as in my case, or whether it's more about sharing who we are with the world, showing up as our true self, being honest and authentic. There are so many fears around being visible, and that's what I'm kind of working to help people with.
Fantastic, excellent. And it's London that you're based, isn't it?
Yes.
And London is a very busy place. I lived there for a long time, and yeah, I can completely imagine, when you were starting to try and get better and get well again. It is so busy all of the time. It's not as if you could just have went for a nice walk in the countryside necessarily. No. London is full on, so that must have added to the stress as well, being in such a busy place.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, generally in life, when you're going through something, you're kind of in that moment, but the world's still carrying on around you. So just because everything's too loud or you don't want to be seen doesn't mean that that's going to happen. You still have to keep going. And it's like now in business, one of the ways this fear of being seen continued into my adult life was just me being terribly camera shy. And I didn't even have a Facebook account 4 months ago. I was really fearful of it, really fearful of putting myself out there. But as we know, that's the world we're in now. And in the world of business, in the world of just connecting with people, you need to be out there. You need to be visible in one way or another. Yeah. And this year, I've actually done incredible things to just kind of, I guess, just face the fear head on and really overcome it. So I've paraded in the Rio Carnival, the Notting Hill Carnival in front of hundreds of thousands of people, done loads of live streams, given talks on stages, free alone this month. So really showing that actually, you can have these fears, but you can still put yourself out there, and you can do it in a way that works for you. You don't have to follow up the way other people do it. You don't have to, be conventional, if that makes sense. You can really, really kind of forge your own path.
It feels as if at the moment there is so much noise out there, but you do feel as if you have to, show up the way that others are. So, on video all the time, creating free content, all of these things. But actually, like you said there, you can really take your time and just feel into what is good for you and what makes you feel comfortable. And then when you're ready to take the next step, and get even more visible, then you'll know when that time is right, instead of having to rush yourself through things and cause yourself anxiety and stress and worry.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you do have to build real resilience and be able to put your blinkers on, because there is so much stuff out there, and it's kind of a vicious cycle. You know, before, when I used to go on Instagram, I didn't see anything about coaching or about mindset or developing a business, but now when I go on, there's all these ads, and it's almost like the more you feed into it, the more you get back, which is fine, but it's important to feed your mind with the good stuff and with the stuff you actually want. And as you say, take your time, not feel pressured. We all have our own journey, and that journey is unique to us. And actually sharing our journey along the way can be so helpful to others. I had the most beautiful conversation a few weeks ago with a lady who read one of my articles, which was around, in October, I did a live stream every single day. I just decided to do it on the 1st of October, didn't really think much about it. Hated it about halfway through when I thought, what am I talking about? But actually doing that was great for me, and it allowed me to connect with someone who was also camera shy and fearing taking her first steps, and she's been able to do that now.
I love that. That is it. That is the impact, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about the ways that you coach. I know that you've got a program. What other things is it that you're doing? Is it the program that you've got in Invisible to Invincible? Is that a 6-week program? How does that work? And do you also do like one-to-ones, or is it all group? Give us a little bit of information about that.
Yeah, so at the moment it's all one-to-one, and I'm interested in developing some group stuff, but not just yet. Right now I'm very much focused on the one-to-one. So it's all about identifying, you know, what is your vision for visibility? What does visibility actually mean to you? Because I think there's a real danger in kind of going into it blind, just throwing yourself out there, seeing everyone else is doing live videos and just kind of following suit. But actually, what is this about? What are you trying to get out of this? How does it contribute to your goals? So being very clear on that, what is the vision? And then it's working on mindset. So a lot of the time we fear judgment. I think when you look at people's fears around visibility, that's probably the top one, even if that's not the stated concern. You know, it's often about, you know, how you look, or what if people don't like what I'm saying? What if people disagree with me? What if no one watches? When it comes to embarking on a new career or starting something new, there can be fears around, you know, what about the people who know me for one thing? What are they going to think? So it's really working on that mindset and really building the confidence around it, because ultimately, if you believe you're on the right track, that what you're doing is going to have the impact you want it to have, then, you know, people are going to judge you, but it's about building a real kind of bulletproof mindset to not get caught up in all of that.
Absolutely.
And then one of the things my program focuses on is around storytelling. So I mentioned earlier, in November, I've taken to 3 stages to share my story. Now, public speaking isn't new to me. I've done inspirational talks, I've talked to big groups in the past, but I've always kept it at a very kind of, I guess you could say, a theoretical level. I haven't gone personal or deep. All of that's changed in the last month, which has been massively scary for me. And in the past of my coaching, I've attracted ladies who have a story to share but don't feel quite ready. And that can be for a number of reasons. And I was in the same boat a few months ago. I knew I had a story. I knew I could use it to inspire people to, you know, help them through some of their challenges. But there are elements of my story that are very personal. There are elements that involve other people who I don't want to kind of offend or upset or demonize in any way. And so a big part of the program is actually helping the person to craft their story in a way that works for them. So every single one of us has a story, every single one of us has a journey, every single one of us has skills and expertise, and it's just about, you know, being able to communicate it in a way that works for you. So I think there can be a fear that, oh, if I start opening up, I have to share everything, or, you know, I'm really vulnerable and exposed. But, you know, the talks I gave, I opened up in a way that worked for me. I shared the things I wanted to share, and I shared it in a way that worked for me. So that's very much a big part of the program, so that by the end you are ready to go out there and share your story in the world and with the world, and feel confident doing so.
Fantastic. I absolutely love it. So also talk to me a little bit about how people that are out there just now, how can they improve their self-belief to get out there and do it? So it's just like literally 3 steps that right now they could do that orders them to improve their self-belief and improve their love for themselves as well. I always believe that in order to have self-belief, you really need to fall back in love with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I
So,
can't agree with that more.
yeah, so what would you say if you could just give them a couple of tips, or amazing listeners out there just now? What would you say to them?
I would say the first thing is your beliefs. You know, everything starts in the mind. If you think you are amazing and the best thing ever, you're going to show up in the world in that way.
Yeah.
If you tell yourself that, oh, my story's boring or no one will be interested, you're not going to share it. So the first thing is to really work on your beliefs, and you can absolutely cultivate beliefs that strengthen you, that, you know, that are powerful, that really serve you well. So you can do that through affirmations, you can do that through, you know, writing down a list of your achievements. So many people suffer with imposter syndrome, so write down the different things you've achieved and really reflect on those and feel good about those, and definitely think about all the things you want to have, and start imagining you have them. You know, if you want to stand on a stage and inspire the world, start telling yourself you can do that. And when those negative voices try to take over, ignore them, push them out, and replace all those negative thoughts with positive ones. Another step I would take as well is around, basically, do the thing that scares you. Whatever it is, do it. You might not do it in the biggest way. So if doing a live video scares you, just do one. That might sound really counterintuitive, but the best way to grow is when you step out of your comfort zone, when you're solidly in your comfort zone. Yes, it's nice. Yes, it's comfortable. Yes, you know, you're in your zone, you're happy, but you're not growing, you're not developing, you're not pushing yourself forward. So sometimes just do the thing that scares you. And I'll give you a quick example. A few years ago, I was in the job of my dreams. I, you know, had lots of responsibility, lots of power, massive budgets, but I was so unhappy. My life was all about work, and I just didn't really have much going on other than work. So I decided to do a solo trip to Dubai. I wanted to skydive, and the thought of traveling solo was so scary to me. Never mind jumping out of a plane, I was fine with that, but the traveling solo was really scary. But I just did it. I booked the trip, I did it, and actually it really gave me a hunger for travel. And I went, and I basically went to all 7 continents in a 12-month period following that. But the key thing is, take one step, do something that scares you, and the benefits, you know, you'll reap the benefits.
Absolutely, you always do. There's a really lovely saying, isn't it, that everything that you ever want is on the other side of fear?
Yeah, absolutely.
So true. Okay, so tell me then, what is your big goals, your big missions? Obviously, we're coming into the end of a year, which is always a lovely time to kind of reflect and put together what your plans are and moving forward. So what are your plans, your big mission for the coming months and coming year?
Yeah, so for the coming year, I want to create a world where women don't feel invisible. And that's in all senses of the word. You know, I've talked on the kind of literal ways one can be invisible, but there's also the the ability to stand up for ourselves, to go after what we want, to have honest conversations. There's those sides of it. And I want to create a world where it's fine to do that. You know, we can be ourselves. You know, your Unstoppable movement is fantastic. And it's all about empowering women to achieve whatever we want to. But so much of it starts off with being able to embrace that visibility, being able to be honest about what we want, who we are, showing the world when it's appropriate to. So that's a really big part of my mission, empowering women to be visible, to share their stories, and yeah, to go after whatever it is that we want, and to know that we have the right to do that, and that we can absolutely achieve anything we want to.
Fantastic. I love it. It's brilliant. I'm so excited to watch your journey. It will be fantastic. It really will. So, do you have anything that is coming up that you could offer any of the listeners out there if they want to get to know you a little bit more, or kind of get involved with your community? Where can they find you? And also, do you do something like a discovery call, for example, that they could come and learn a little bit more about you?
Yeah, so I do offer discovery calls. So anyone who's interested in speaking more about their kind of visibility challenges, or, you know, anything I've touched on today, I'd love to hear from. So yes, I offer discovery calls. And I'm also running a visibility challenge from the 10th to the 14th of December. And that will be 5 consecutive days on really working on your visibility. And so far, some of the ladies who have signed up, for them, it's about being more consistent. For some of them, it's about really overcoming their fears and just kind of taking their first steps towards that. So I'd love for any listeners who are struggling with an element or an aspect of visibility to come and join the challenge.
Fantastic. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And what was the date again that starts?
It's the Monday the 10th of December, and it runs to the Friday.
Brilliant. So can you tell us your links as well, so where we can come and find you? Do you have a website or social media?
I do have a website, so it's www.livingyourbestlife.co.uk, and on Facebook you can find me under, I think the direct link is fb.me/coach and that's YAZZ.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, it's been amazing speaking to you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you create and the movement that you begin. It's a brilliant concept. You know, the world needs more of us strong, powerful women stepping up, but not you know, stepping into our masculine energy, but stepping into our energy and leading with that.
Exactly. It's so important to be true to who we are. And I think, again, going back to what we were saying earlier about seeing what other people are doing, it's so easy to kind of replicate others and do things that actually aren't really in line with who we are or how we want to do things. So it's so important, as you say, to kind of embrace that feminine energy and to not try to be something we're not.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, have a beautiful day, Yasmina.
Thank you.
And yeah, let's keep in touch as well. Let's get you doing some maybe training in the Unstoppable group as well, and going through some of this and possibly doing some sort of challenge in the new year. That would be really cool.
I'd love to. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So thank you so much, everybody that's listened today. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you have enjoyed this episode, please make sure that you share, comment, like, whatever you want. But you should just know that we adore having you listening in and hopefully taking some golden nuggets away that you can put into place for your own life and for your own journey. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening again, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye.